The silver and gold, the prices are moving up this past week. Do you believe that we hit the bottom in precious metals, or are we off to the races?
Yeah. It really depends on the time frame we're looking at, and this is where I find it difficult to explain in a way, because people always want to, they naturally want to hear what they want to hear, and they discard the important stuff, which I think they've hit the bottom for this year. I think we're going to have this. We've already started what I think is kind of a year-end rally. I think we're going to see gold, silver miners. They're already kind of leading the pack to the upside. I think we still have a end of year rally in stocks and bonds and precious metals. I think everything is just going to kind of float back higher towards the end of the year. Gold miners, silver miners are leading the way, along with energy stocks. So I think they've hit the bottom this year, but have they actually bottomed? Mm-hmm. I think there's actually a long ways to go. My belief is the stock market, the economy is going to roll back over early in 2023. We could see 6, 8, 12 months of downward selling in the stock market. And there could be so much selling pressure that really metals can't hold up. They can't buck the trend and go the opposite direction unless there's some crazy Hail Mary event that bucks the trend. I'll just share my chart real quick, and I'll just show you kind of where a scenario type of thing that could be unfolding here, which I feel like the stock market right now is in this stage 3 topping phase. I feel like we're kind of flirting with this breakdown level in the stock market. Maybe this holiday rally is this last kind of hurrah in stocks and bonds before we actually start what I think is going to be the start of a real bear market that could last 6, 8, 12 months. And when we go through a bear market like this, a stage 4 decline, almost everything goes down. There's margin calls. There's enough fear in the market that people just can't hold on. And when there's that kind of selling, we pretty much always see gold sell off with that. And a good example is if I go to the weekly chart of gold here and we take a look of what happened, let me go back to 2008. What's really interesting here is in 2008, we had the stock market correct and gold pulled back about 34%. And that's just because there is the bullish scenario for gold was very strong, just like it is right now. But the problem is there could be so much selling pressure. It just is going to keep pulling it down. It's going to fade lower. It's not like a 34% correction is big, but I think we're in the same scenario. The outlook for gold long-term, I think, is more bullish now than it's ever been. Same with silver. But the problem is when there's mass market selling, the whole globe is going into recession. People are frightened. They liquidate positions. And from where we've seen this high, I think we could still see gold pull down roughly 34% again. And if you just draw a line across this chart, this is a pretty significant level where we broke into the start of this bull market phase. And so gold could come back down and test this level before going off to 2,500, 3,500, and so on and so forth. So I think we got an end of year rally that started, and I think it's going to go higher. But I think we're going to see a great opportunity to get into metals later in 2023. The big question is, if gold does fall to say 1,400,
right?
What can we actually buy the physical at? Are we actually going to be able to buy it at 1,400, or is it still going to be at like 1,800, which is really frustrating because here we've got low gold and silver prices, yet we're paying these crazy premiums.
Oh yeah, the American Eagles, like the silver premiums, they're like $12, $13 above spot. Which is,
exactly. So that's the big scenario. That's what I'm worried about going forward here is we're going to see a nice decline in metals, a great spot to add to our stacks. But we're still paying through the nose for the physical. I only really want physical. I don't want to buy an ETF so much and all that stuff just because it's not the real deal. And who knows what's going to happen if something implodes, right?
So it's safe to say that you think the stock market's going down another 20, 30%?
Yeah.
So what if a black swan comes up the next, let's say, 2-3 months? Will that force the Fed to pivot? And do you think, let's say the stock market would turn around and go back up?
Yeah, I think if the Fed wanted to do a pivot, everybody's leaning on the Fed. Last statement,
we're all begging for one.
Yeah, everybody's been leaning on them. It's like we've been spoon fed, right? And the Fed says something not. I mean, I thought the last Fed statement was in line with what I was expecting them to do, yet everybody freaked out and sold. I'm like, to me, that wasn't really anything special, but people are so sensitive. And it's just a matter of time before I think the Fed breaks. And the big question will be, how much do stocks and bonds have to fall and hurt the average investor before they're like, okay, we are killing most of our population here, like of the wealth. Because if you think about it right now, we're in that like kind of perfect scenario where the majority of people like baby boomers and up, they all have most of the wealth. Like baby boomers hold 51% of stocks in the US stock market. They hold over 50% of the wealth. And they all need that money because they're coming into retirement. If we go into some huge catastrophe and collapse of 30, 40, or 50% in the stock market and bond prices, it's going to devastate the United States and really every country in terms of retirement and people having to go back to work. So there will be a point here that stocks and bonds hit a breaking level and the Fed's like, you know what, we've got to do something because it's just hurting everyone at the worst time, right when they need their retirement money. They've just lost most of it. So it's going to really, it's going to trigger them. They're going to have to do something. I think that's the way they see it.
So, Chris, we're seeing huge numbers get depleted from the COMEX and LBMA for silver and gold. What's your opinion? Will the trend ultimately continue?
Yeah, I don't follow it too closely, but it sure feels like it. I mean, I feel like, ever since the whole silver thing with Reddit, everybody kind of getting on board and becoming, us in this group already have been following kind of all the manipulation and stuff going on with silver and gold for so long. But I think kind of the whole Reddit thing this past summer, in the past year and change has got so many more people on board and wanting to be on side and to screw the big guys and take down all the manipulators, JP Morgan, all that stuff, right? It's definitely creating this huge premium and we're seeing physicals just get depleted. I have a feeling that's going to continue and it's going to get worse, which comes back to the first comment I made. Like if gold drops to $1,400 and silver drops to $12.
Oh, don't say that.
I mean, what are we going to be paying in a premium? We'll still be paying $25 for a silver round, even though it could be worth $12.
So like that's what we think is crazy. Like even if it goes down to 12, 13 bucks on spot price, the actual physical market is completely detached from the actual spot market. So do you think something will break there ultimately?
I think it's got to. I mean, I don't know how, the financial system is so corrupt. It's ridiculous. It's a bunch of crooks running everything. It feels like something's got to break. But if the crooks run it and they're constantly cheating and manipulating, they're just going to keep doing it. And they've been doing it, as we know, forever. As long as I've been born, they've been doing this. And we thought silver was going to have a huge breakout like 15 years ago.
Right.
And, I mean, it's had some big breakouts, but I mean, 100 plus. And for this whole big short position and the unwinding event to happen, it hasn't happened yet. I think something will break. I think there's finally some movements and enough transparency starting to come through that maybe something's going to snap and break. I mean, I think the only way to play this whole thing in silver at this point is you play an ETF that actually goes up and down with silver. And because the premiums, I don't think are going to budge very much. I think silver could drop a bunch and nobody's letting go of their silver, and nobody can stockpile it and make more. And so I think it's going to be difficult to get lower physical silver prices, even if the market goes down. And something I think is going to break eventually, but I mean, it could be another 10 years from now for all we know. But I do feel like we're getting closer. There's a